Although lockdown is starting to ease, many people in Britain are still working from home. For most of us, this is not the typical way of working, and technology has been the tool that has facilitated this adventure into a new digital landscape. The Office for National Statistics reported that the average amount of the UK's population mainly working from home in 2019 was 5.1%. Comparing this to April 2020, 49.2% of adults in employment were working from home. This rapid increase of working from home is making people reconsider the role of physical workspaces, as well as considering what tools they'll need to work effectively in a virtual space. Most of us who are working at home have become very familiar with having our meetings held over online video conferencing software. Zoom, a software-based conference room solution, has seen its stock price increase more than double since December. The app's become so popular, we've seen the Prime Minister host meetings over it. However, the initial surge in popularity did spark some security concerns. In the past, Zoom has experienced some security flaws, namely Zoom bombing, a form of trolling where people would jump into meetings uninvited and screen share pornographic content or send links to malware using the platform's chat feature. Zoom have added more security checks to mitigate this, such as password protection on meetings and a lobby that allows the host to control who is entering the meeting. There have been some schools who have also been using Zoom to conduct lessons throughout lockdown, as well as encourage pupils to meet up online and interact socially with one another. Most teachers, however, have not moved their classes onto this video conferencing software, as it can't be guaranteed that all children would have access to a screen at the same time, not to mention how unwieldy a virtual meeting of 30+ people might be. Instead, Google Classroom has seen a massive boost in usage over the last couple of months. They have reportedly doubled their user base to over 100 million users. Using this free web service, teachers are able to upload work for their pupils to complete, feedback on it, and even create timed tests. Although no substitute to a collaborative and interactive physical space, Google Classroom has helped many children around the world to keep studying. School teachers aren't the only profession that's had to move into virtual learning. Fitness classes, music lessons, cookery schools all have had to adapt to the lockdown measures to carry on bringing their expertise to their pupils. I caught up with Andy Davies, a music teacher, to find out how he's adapted to the lockdown.
Well, for me, it was obviously the schools closed first, and then shortly after it was the lockdown. So within a short space of time, my teaching would come to an end effectively, because I couldn't go to school. People couldn't come to me. I sort of thought, well, right, what can I do, or what can I offer my students to keep them going, to keep them motivated? I've got a fairly new laptop, so the camera on it is really good. It's quite clear. So in that side of things, I thought we'll just use that. What I sort of found then was, when trying it all out, actually, this could really work. Before the online lessons start, I send them various links to apps which are like tuners, so they can tune their guitar beforehand. So you kind of get around that, saves time during the lesson. We're not having to try and tune up over online. It's all done via they're free, and it works great. But what I'll also do before the lesson starts is I email over the music. So they've got it there printed off or on their device, so they've got it in front of them, and that's how I will start. So they'll always have the music before the lesson. If I feel that there's certain things that they need to see, I'll just grab my guitar here. I will just grab my guitar and I will put it right in the camera so they can see exactly what I'm doing, or that might be the same this end. So I'll just show them with my right hand. So it's very much using the camera to get the most out of it, really.
With the lockdown in place, it's unsurprising that streaming services have seen a massive boost in users. Netflix has boasted around 16 million new subscribers, whilst new platform Disney+, which launched in the UK just before lockdown, is claimed to have 55 million users already. With content being more in demand than ever before, there has unfortunately been a huge slowdown in new content being produced, as most filming has stalled with social distancing in place. However, the industry is looking at ways to work round this. CBS's legal drama All Rise hadn't finished recording its season's finale before lockdown happened. The show's producers adapted and changed the episode so that it reflected the real-world situation. They opted to have the characters interact over a video conference version of the courtroom. The actors had to control their own lighting, costume, continuity and makeup to bring the episode together. Back in the UK, ITV produced a series of 4 short dramas about families coping with the lockdown. Isolation Stories, produced by Oscar-nominated writer Jeff Pope, had stars such as Sheridan Smith and Eddie Marsan filming themselves using sterilised equipment that was sent directly to their homes. Jeff would then direct the cast remotely. Current affairs shows have also seen big changes, with studios being moved around to distance the hosts from each other and guests joining remotely. It's not just filmed content trying to innovate during the lockdown, live art is also trying to adapt. Whilst the lockdown has obviously hurt the theatre industry heavily, some theatres are hosting previously recorded shows online. The National Theatre screened an as-live recording of James Corden's performance in One Man, Two Governors, which had more than 1 million live viewers. Events and festivals, whilst facing similar challenges as theatre, have had to ask themselves the question of how do you take an always in-person event and move it into a virtual landscape. I spoke with Sita Brand, Artistic Director and CEO of Settle Stories, to find out how her company is innovating the way they put on a festival.
Settle Stories has been going for about 10 years, and we run a festival every 2 years. And this year we were launching the Yorkshire Festival of Story. It became abundantly clear that we had one of 2 choices. One was that we would postpone the festival to next year. And the second was that we would go digital and the festival would go online. And that's what I chose to do. So it's going to be a combination of Zoom, Vimeo, YouTube, and Facebook. And we have a festival website which was designed as something that was for a live event. So there's some limited changes in terms of what we can do there. But people will still be able to go to the festival. It'll still be ticketed, but it's all free. And so some things will be presented on Zoom, certainly some of the talks and where there's participation. And the other key thing that we've done is that we've moved the festival from being a weekend event, which is like packed with events, to being a festival that takes place across the whole of August. And if we looked at it differently, if we looked at it in a way where it wasn't just our community here in Settle and in Yorkshire that we were serving, that potentially some of these talks and things, of course, could be very interesting to a wider population, and that we had basically the whole world who could enjoy the festival. So that's what we're going for, and hopefully it works.
Social distancing measures are likely to be in place with us for a long while yet, and the ability to innovate and adapt during the crisis could be the key to some businesses surviving. What technology has your company adopted to keep working? Let us know down in the comments below.